how do I know if an annuity can help me in my personal situation? So before we just dive into that and all of the numbers, what I want to ask is a couple questions. If I asked you, what is an annuity? Or how does an annuity work? Would you be able to answer either of those questions? If the answer is yes, and you can explain it perfectly, fantastic. If your answer is no, firstly, that is okay. And secondly, my hope is that after this evening's webinar, you'll be able to explain it a little bit better than how you would have been able to explain it or answer that question before the webinar. So we'll talk about a lot. The focus will be on annuities, but as we talk about annuities, we'll cover the following. First, we'll talk about what is an annuity, how it works, what to do if you're considering getting an annuity, what not to do, which I think is extremely important. And then we'll look at some different types of annuities. We will focus specifically on fixed annuity products. But before I just jump into that information, a few questions, and we'll role play this. If your spouse or your best friend asked you, what is an annuity? Would you be able to answer that question? If that same person said to you, you put your money into an annuity, I heard annuities are a complete scam. You got to be nuts to consider putting your money into an annuity. It's tied up forever. You ever hear about a situation like that? Have you ever been in a situation like that? How would you answer that question? How can you confidently respond to that individual, letting them know why you got that annuity, and then also educating them on the pros and cons and helping them understand, oh, I see exactly how it helped you, and maybe even spark some interest in them. So we'll cover exactly that, but we'll begin by explaining exactly what an annuity is and really helping you answer the question, can it help me? And just a quick reminder here too, similar to our previous webinars, at the conclusion of this evening's webinar, we are going to have a private Q&A session, and this is for IBC Global customers only. If you are watching this event on a live stream right now, and you are a customer, let us know if you have a policy through it with us or anything like that, and we'll definitely make sure we get you the Zoom link so you can attend the Q&A afterwards. All right, into the material. Number one, what is an annuity? Simply put, an annuity is a contract between you and a life insurance company. Here's how it works. You give the insurance company a pile of money. They say, thank you for your money, but then in return, they give you your money back, and in most cases, a lot more on top of it. There's usually two reasons people are interested in annuities. The first one is guaranteed growth, and the second one is guaranteed income. Let's talk about guaranteed income a little bit. Here's a way I like to think about it. Let's pretend that you see a rental property that is just a no-brainer. You want this rental property. However, if you purchase it, you can never access the equity. But you look at the income, you see that it's always paid, and you say, you know what? I like this because it's going to pay me income forever. So you purchase this rental property with cash, and you're guaranteed the following. Number one, you'll never have to pay any property tax. Number two, you'll never have any maintenance expenses or no costs that are associated with this property. And then number three, here's the good one. Your tenant is going to pay on time every single month forever. And they're going to live just as long as you. Sound like a good deal? Yes, that's a good deal. I would jump right on that. So this is exactly why people are often interested in annuities. Simply put, I can secure guaranteed income without risk. I don't have to worry about a market crash. All of a sudden, my value is cut in half, and now I can only produce, or I can only take half the income of what I could take before. I don't have that risk with certain annuities. So we'll cover three main things today. Number one, we'll talk about three different types of annuities. Number two, we'll talk about when these annuities do not make sense versus when they do make sense. We'll talk about specific scenarios that individuals have looked at when considering annuities for themselves. And then number three, how an annuity can give you peace of mind. Sound good? All right, let's have some fun. Before we get into that though, a little bit about me in case we haven't met. Hello, my name's Steve. Nice to meet you. That is a picture of me and my lovely wife, Tara. I have aged a lot since that picture. However, she has not aged one day. She doesn't age at all. I am the founder and CEO of IBC Global. We currently serve about 3,000 clients, many of which have a 7-figure, 8-figure, and even 9-figure net worth. And one of our largest clients is a bank. Now, our mission as a company, simply put, is to make the best products and solutions available to everyone, not just those with a high net worth or just banks and corporations. We do work with everyone, as we did make a decision not to only work with those that are very, very wealthy. So regardless of your net worth, we will work with you. A couple questions about annuities that we hear a lot. Number one, how can I fund an annuity? Meaning, how do I actually get money into this product? There's two main ways: cash, or I can transfer money from a retirement account. A retirement account will be a 401k or IRA, for example. Let's talk about cash first, because I want to hit on some important terms that'll be beneficial for you to be aware of. So cash, if you said, I want an annuity and I'm just going to write a check from my bank account, that would be considered a non-qualified annuity. Here's what that means. When you start to take money from that annuity, when you take income, only the gains, which is everything above the amount that you deposited, the gains again are taxable, and it is taxed as ordinary income. Then we've got a retirement account. So one way you can fund an annuity is by transferring money from an IRA or 401k, as an example, over to an annuity. This would be considered a qualified annuity. With a qualified annuity, when you start to withdraw money, when you take income, both the principal and the gains are taxed to you as ordinary income, which is exactly the same as how it would work if you just took money from the 401k. If you have a 401k and you eventually take income in retirement, what are you taxed on? Everything, what you paid in and also the gains. The same thing is true with a qualified annuity. It's just a different product here. We've got a fixed insurance product. Another common question with annuities: what happens if I die? Does the insurance company just keep my money? The answer is no, if we don't pick this option, which we almost never pick this option. In most cases, you will see that money is left over to your beneficiaries. Let's go through a few examples of this. Let's assume you get an annuity and you transfer $250,000 into this product. You plan on taking income down the road, but something happens, you die before you get any money from that annuity. What happens to the balance? Your beneficiaries get $250,000. Now that amount could be higher or lower after we factor in any interest you received, plus any fees that might have been deducted from the insurance company, but in most cases, it should be approximately $250,000. Example 2, you get that same annuity, you start to take income, you take a total of $100,000 from that annuity, and then you die. Your beneficiaries would get the difference, approximately $150,000, and the balance could be a little bit more or less depending on the performance and such. Example 3, you get that same annuity for $250,000 and you live a long time. You take income from that, you get it every single year, and you receive a total of $1 million, and then you die. How much do your beneficiaries get? 0, because you got your principal back and a whole lot more. Now, technically, there might be something left over if that annuity has performed very well. Realistically, we probably are not going to have a balance left over in that particular case because we have outlived all of our money, or the balance, I should say, but you continue to receive that payment every single year. Here's a few situations where annuities have worked well. Number one, I want guaranteed income during retirement, kind of like a pension, a lot like a pension, actually. I want to see my money grow, but without any stock market risk. Three, I want a high fixed interest rate that I can lock in for 5 to 10 years. Four, I want guaranteed income that I can take for the rest of my life, and I want it to start right now. Or five, I want guaranteed income, but I don't need it right now. I'll start it when I'm 65 or at some future date. Okay, let's get into the different types of annuities. So we're going to talk about 3 different types of annuities, but we'll start with 2. Quick story, tortoise and the hare. You ever hear about this? I'm going to say you probably have. Who won the race here? We know the answer to that question. It's the tortoise, slow and steady, but never stopped. And then we've got the hare, really, really fast, but he tired out and he took a rest underneath a tree, and then he eventually lost as a result. So we all know who won the race. However, if this was real life and you could actually pick one of these animals to win the race, not a fairy tale, who would you pick? I'd probably pick the hare. What does that have to do with annuities? Not a whole lot, but this does. Both of those animals have different styles as far as how they travel. First, we've got the tortoise. Some annuities will grow slow and steady, meaning you are going to get a predictable, consistent return every single year, and you know exactly what that return is upfront. Whereas on the other hand, some annuities are going to grow really fast one year, but then other years they flatline or don't grow at all. That's the hare stopping to take his rest. Make sense? We'll get into those specific products. So the 3 types we'll look at: fixed annuities, indexed annuities, and then income annuities. Let's start with our friend the tortoise, the fixed annuity. So a quick story about this. I got into the insurance industry in 2011, and I remember seeing an annuity that someone bought. This was within the first 6 months that I'm in the business, and they had purchased this annuity in 2007. So we were reviewing their product. I got into the business in 2011. They said, hey, here's an annuity I have. They got it back in 2007. So they got that annuity right before 2008. We all know what happened then, the market crash, which was also before interest rates began to come down. So the interest rate that they had on their product in 2007, they were locked into that. Here's how it worked. Pretend that this is you that got that annuity in 2007. You got a 10-year annuity that had an 8% interest rate in 2007. What does that mean? Well, that means you were locked in to that 8% return from 2007 through 2017. For 10 years, you were guaranteed that 8% return, and it was going to compound every single year through this time period where interest rates just continued to go down. This fixed annuity is called a multi-year guaranteed annuity, MYGA. If you were to search annuities online, if you go on Google and just search in annuities, you're probably going to see this term. Again, it stands for multi-year guaranteed annuity. Here's how it works. When you purchase the annuity, you have a fixed interest rate for a fixed number of years. Typically, it's somewhere between 2 and 10 years. We'll see that up front. And when you start this product, your rate is locked in and guaranteed not to change for the full term. A lot like a CD at a bank. Let's talk about first, though, when this annuity is not a fit. So some people might express that this type of annuity is not a fit for them. They look at the interest rate and say it's not high enough. Or maybe you don't like the surrender charges. Surrender charges. You know what that means? What is it? A surrender charge is a penalty that is assessed to your money if you cancel the contract early, or if you cash out more than 10%, you're going to be hit with this surrender charge or penalty. It's a lot like a CD. So if you go to a bank and they say, we're going to give you 1% on your checking account, or we'll give you 4% on this CD. What are the terms with a CD at a bank? Well, you might have to purchase that CD for 24 or 36 months. Pretend it's 24 months. What does that mean? That means you have to keep your money in the CD for at least 24 months. That's how you get that higher interest rate from the bank. If you cash it out early, you get whacked with a penalty. Very similar with surrender charges on annuities. Typically, you'll see surrender charges start high and then they gradually decrease over time. That's an example of when a fixed annuity might not be a fit. When is it a fit? Well, one, if you like the guaranteed fixed interest rate, if you like the fact that it's guaranteed for a fixed number of years upfront, for example, I get 5%, that's compound interest for the next 10 years. Simply put, you know what your money is going to grow by. You get peace of mind. What I like about these annuities is you can simply take the interest rate, drop it on Excel, or just take a calculator, and you can predict, you can see upfront exactly what it's going to grow to. Want to see something like that? All right. So here's an example of rates. They're actually a little bit higher than this right now. I might see a 2-year annuity around 4.5%. 3-year might be around 5%. And you'll typically see the longer I go, the higher the interest rate is. Now, when you look at these rates, I'll let you know this, they typically change monthly. Insurance companies are going to adjust these rates. However, when you start an annuity, whatever your interest rate is, you're locked into it for the life of that contract or for the full term. So if you have a 5.5% interest rate for 5 years, it's a lock. Let's look at a 10-year example. So here, we've got someone making a $250,000 deposit. You've got an interest rate of 5.6%. 5.6% of $250,000 is what you see in purple, $14,000. Add $14,000 to the $250,000, and then you get what is called your accumulation value. The accumulation value is a term you will see on some annuity illustrations. Sometimes you'll see it read annuity value. Sometimes it'll read contract value. But this displays the gross amount that is receiving this interest rate. But then in red, what do you see? Surrender charge. So here we see 10%. 10% of $264,000 is $26,400. Deduct that charge, and what happens? You're left over with the cash surrender value. That's your money column. If you were to cash this annuity out, or if you were to try to transfer an annuity, this one to a different annuity product, the cash surrender value is what is transferred. So here, we're assuming we have a 10-year annuity. At the end of the 10th year, what do we see? Your accumulation value and surrender value are equal to each other. At that time, depending on my age, I could take the money, or I could transfer it to a different annuity. Maybe it's another fixed one. Maybe it's an income annuity. We'll talk about that later. But that's a fixed annuity. Very straightforward. I know the interest rate up front, and I just see it grow over time. Let's look at our friend the hare, the indexed annuity. So a quick story about this. A friend of mine, when I first got into the industry, this was within my first year in the business, he had an old IRA account, and he was at an age, he was nearing retirement. He liked the potential of the stock market, but at his age, he didn't want to have to worry about losing money anymore. He was kind of like, all right, I've had enough with the market. I've had my fill. I don't like the idea of losing money. And this was back in 2011 and 2012, not too long after 2008. Now, he didn't know much about annuities, and frankly, I did not know that much back then either, but he did express interest. So with money in the market, he felt a lot like this. What do you see here? Well, he starts out with 100,000. Look at the 3rd year. What does his value grow to here? $135,000 in change. The market is booming 3 consistent years. But then we see a very bad year with a 25% dip, and his account value is now worth what? Back to where he started, about 100 grand. This right here, and also having lived through something like this, scared him. He didn't want to have to continue to do this, especially being that he was near the age of 60 at this point. So he was interested in an indexed annuity, and the reason why is because of this. So what do you notice with this chart? Well, it continues to trend up. But if we look at that same year 4 mark, what happened with the money in the market? Dipped down to 100,000. What happens here? Doesn't go down. Flatlines when the market tanks. So with an indexed annuity, your money is protected from a market crash. Here's a quick comparison. When you look at this chart, this is going back to pretending we have money in the stock market. At the end of 10 years, it's grown to what? I'll give you a hint. It's highlighted in yellow. $168,000 in change. Okay. The indexed annuity now. What do you notice here? At the end of 10 years, it's worth 182 and change, just about 182. Now, this does not mean that an annuity is going to outperform the stock market over the long haul. It probably will not. But over some study periods, you can see attractive performance here. And the reason why is because your principal is protected. If we go back to the market example, what you'll notice here, here's the market going up, but this right here is really what kills them. Whereas if we look at the same time period with the indexed annuity, so here you've got the stock market returns, what we just looked at. Then underneath it, here's the indexed annuity returns. During the down years, I don't lose money. That is specifically what he was attracted to. So, how does it work? Well, your money is tied to an index. There's a variety of indexes with different insurance companies. It's usually the S&P 500. Simply put, if the stock market goes up, you go up with it. The market goes down, you don't go down with it. Your principal is protected with an indexed annuity. Sound good? It is. With that said, what are some drawbacks? Well, here's the biggest drawback that most people express. The gains are limited. What does that mean? If the market goes up by 30%, you're probably not going to get 30%. There's limits on these products. Here are a few examples. So you'll see terms like this, cap rate. If you haven't heard this term, think of it as like a cap, literally a cap. You can't go higher than whatever that cap is on your glass. But assume that the market earns 20%, the S&P 500. Also assume that your cap rate is 10%. What that means is that the most you can earn that year is 10%. So even though the market produced 20%, you were capped at 10%. So your gains are limited. However, what you get in exchange is principal protection. So that's one strategy that we can select with an indexed annuity, being the cap rate. Another example is called a spread rate. How this works is if the market earns 20% and your spread is 5%, we take the earnings in the market, subtract the spread, and that's what we're left over with. So you would have earned 15% this year. And then lastly, you have a participation rate. So how this works is you participate with a percentage of the S&P 500. Simple example, market does 20%, your participation rate is 50%. What is 50% of 20%? Think of it this way. What's half of 20%? 10%. That's what you would earn. The nice thing about this is you don't have to pick one up front and then be stuck with that forever. You can adjust this as the years pass, and you could even have some fun and say, hey, I want to have 50% of my money here, 30% of my money here, and then 20% down here, as long as we equal a total of 100 at the bottom. That is all the insurance company asks. All right, fun stuff, right? Very important side note here. This is where most people have buyer's remorse too. The rate, and I'm referring to the cap rate here specifically. This can change after you start an annuity, and it often does. So for example, this is really important. If you have a cap rate of 10% and the market does 20%, what do you earn that year? 10%. Now, what if 5 years into your annuity, remember, we've got those surrenders, usually the 10-year surrender period. So you're locked in for about 10 years. What if 5 years into it, the insurance company drops your cap rate down to 6% and the market does 20% again? What do you earn? 6%. And if you're locked in for 10 years or feel like you're locked in for 10 years and your earnings are limited, that's where people can get upset. So why I say that is when selecting an insurance company, what we look for are companies that have a history of strong renewal rates. We talk about whole life insurance a lot. If you've seen any of our content ever, or ever heard me talk about whole life insurance, what companies do I always say? 4 major mutual companies. And the reason why is because when you look at their track record, real policies that have lived the test of time, we've seen them actually deliver. I can get a policy that's 10 years old or from the 1980s and see it's delivered for this policyholder. With annuities, we're looking for something similar. Real annuities or strong renewal rates, or we don't have to worry about something that's outside of our control as the agent, them slashing the cap rate, and then we have to come and break the bad news to you, the policyholder. It's like, nope, we're not interested in that kind of stuff. That makes us dread the job. So strong renewal rate, again, means that the company does not have a history of baiting and switching us, starting at a 15% cap rate to make the numbers look good on paper, and then dropping it over time, because that limits our earning potential. So an indexed annuity, when is it not a fit? Firstly, I will see lower guaranteed rates with these products. Maybe I don't like the surrender charges or the inconsistent returns. Some years it's good, some years it's flat. When is this product a fit? Well, if I like the idea of participating in the stock market or getting the upside of the market without any risk, if I'm comfortable not touching my money for 7 to 10 years, because of those surrender charges, for example, or I should say, and then lastly, a common example of where this is a fit is someone that has an old IRA or 401k from a previous employer. They still want to grow their money, but they're getting closer to retirement and they don't want to take on any more risk. That's an example of someone that we see consider an indexed annuity. Want to see some numbers? All right. So here, we've got a $250,000 deposit. We've got the interest credited, interest earned. Year 5, what happened? Market flatlined. Market actually went down. With this indexed annuity, they didn't gain anything, but they didn't lose anything. That's the principal protection right there. Then you've got your accumulation value, the surrender charges, same thing, but in fees. And then you've got your money column, the actual cash surrender value. What do you notice with the cash surrender value by year 2? It's worth more than what you paid in. So here, this individual deposited $250,000. You've got heavy surrender fees, but based on the performance of this product with this time period, the surrender value has exceeded what they deposited. And then this is all hypothetical long-term. It grows quite nicely, but that's an indexed annuity. Potential to experience the upside of the market, but at the same time, protection from a down market, which is nice. That's the indexed annuity. Last one, income annuity. This one's pretty simple. You just get money. All right, let's explain how it works. So unlike the tortoise and the hare, we're just going to receive a check or money every single month from this product. Quick story, actually. Years ago, this is a true story, a woman that we've worked with for a long time now, she lost her husband, received a large amount of money. It was a life insurance check, and she was in a position where she never handled the finances. Her husband always did. So she didn't know what to do. She's stressed out. Her banker is continuously wanting to meet with her to recommend where she should put her money. And she was in a position, she's like, I don't want to invest it. I don't understand any of that stuff. It stresses me out. She had some people that she trusted. She just wanted to make sure that she would never run out of money. She wanted a stress-free retirement, if you want to call it that. So what we ultimately did was used some of the money, not all of it, we'll never recommend that, but some of the money to buy an income annuity. To make a long story short, she's guaranteed to receive income for the rest of her life, and she's been receiving income for a very long time. So an income annuity, what is it? Well, with this, you're guaranteed income. What I like about it is you know exactly how much money you are going to get every month or every year forever. You can get an income annuity that begins to pay you income 30 days after you start it, or it can be deferred until a later date. What you'll always see with these annuities is the longer we defer them, the more money that we'll get in terms of a monthly payment. So with this, typically, we're not interested in growing the account value. So an income annuity typically has fees associated with it, and someone that is interested in this product would not get it to say, I want to see how much my balance grows to over time. Usually why we're getting this is because we're buying future income. I give the insurance company money today. They say, here's how much I'm going to give you later, and we're going to guarantee this to you. It's in their contract. So as long as the insurance company stays in business, you're guaranteed that payment from them. So we mentioned the longer I wait to take income, the more money I get. Let's look at an example. 44-year-old individual transfers $250K into an income annuity. They start to take income at 60. They'll get $3,500 per month forever. If they wait until they're 65, $5,200 per month forever. If they wait until they're 70, $5,700 per month forever. See what happens there? The longer I wait, the more monthly income I get. When is this not a fit? Here's the big one. If you want to see your money grow. So if you like the feeling of seeing that account balance grow and you want to do things with your money, this would not be the first annuity we would recommend. You will see high fees with this product, and also I have surrender charges. Basically, if you want to access the principal, this would not be a product that we would recommend. When it is a fit, however, is if you like the idea of having guaranteed income that'll never run out. Maybe you're planning for income during retirement, or you say, hey, I'm comfortable not having access to the account balance because, again, I'm getting this for income. Kind of like setting up a personal pension plan, very similar to that. And remember the rental property we talked about before that's guaranteed to pay on time every single month forever? That'd be a lot like this income annuity. Want to see some examples? We're going to look at several examples of people in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. Let's start with someone who's 44. So here, we've got that same $250,000 deposit. In green, you've got monthly income, and in purple, you've got the same thing, but annualized. It's the monthly income times 12. So this is you. Pretend you're 44 today. You want to see how much that will guarantee you in future income. You start taking income at 60. How much do you get? About $3,600 per month. What about 65? We get a little bit more than that. about $5,200 per month. And if we wait until we're 70, almost $5,800 per month. The longer we wait, the more we receive. Here's a side-by-side. Starting income at 60, you get just about 43 grand per year. 65, more than $62,000 per year. And if you wait until you're 70, almost $70,000 per year. So the longer we defer, the higher the payout is. That's an example of someone getting this product in their 40s. What if they're closer to retirement? Let's look at someone who's in their mid-50s with about $500,000. They want to know how much income this is going to produce when they turn 65. So about 10 years from now. I'm going to show you something cool here. We're going to look at the same product, one with level income, which is what we just looked at. When I turn the income spigot on, I get this amount every month. But then also an inflation option, which is pretty neat. Let's look at the level income first. So here we've got a $500,000 deposit. The monthly income is what? $4,000 and change per month, which comes out to about $48,000 per year in annual income. And then we see the total income by the time he's 90, he's gotten almost 3 times what he paid in. Paid in $500,000, got almost $1.5 million. That's the level income option. Inflation option, which we do need to decide up front, but we see all of this up front too. Same deposit. Look at your monthly income. So the first year we start to take income, do you remember what it was on the level income option? It was just over 4 grand per month. What's it here in the first year? It's not 4 grand. It's $3,400 and change. So you start out with a significantly lesser amount. What about the next year? 3,500, then 3,600. What happens with this? Continues to increase until he's about 70 years old. At that point, it peaks at about $4,500 per month. Here's the two side by side. What we've got here at age 73, see the columns in light blue? That shows your total income. So at 73 years old is when the inflation option paid him more money. He's received a total now of $633,000, whereas with the option to the left, the level income, he's received $628,000. What happened is the level income option, he was faster right out of the gates, $4,000 per month in income immediately. Whereas over here, started out much slower, but then every year, it continued to get faster and faster. 12 years in, the income is almost the same as what he's earning over here, and it gets stronger. So eventually, he surpasses what he would have received over here, but it does take some time. And the big question is too, does he want that 4,000 and change per month immediately, or is he comfortable starting with a lesser amount? But it's a nice option to be aware of up front when we analyze these. Long term, by the time he's 90, you've got about $100,000 more with that inflation option. And this is for someone who's starting at 55. You start a bit later, a lot of times the level income option makes more sense, which is good to be aware of. But that's someone in their mid-50s. Let's look at someone in their mid-60s here. So 65 years old with a big pile of cash. We're going to look at $1 million. And they want to know how much income this product will give them when they retire. Specifically, if they retire now at 65 years old. So if you started an annuity and you want to take income immediately, the earliest you can typically begin to receive it is 30 days after the initial deposit. That's usually the earliest we can take it. But starting money now at 65, 67, or 70 years old, let's look at the options. 65, which is right now. There's your deposit. Monthly income, just over $6,600. which comes out to how much per year? Multiply that by 12, almost $80,000 per year. Not bad. What if he waits until he's 67? This is the same product, by the way. So he's deciding to defer it here. Same deposit, income at 67, almost $8,000 per month, getting close to 100K per year in income. And if he says, I don't need it until I'm 70, what does that give him? Almost 10 grand a month. You're pushing $120,000 per year in annual income here, which is nice. So again, the income annuity is a product that's quite simple in the sense that you can say, here's money up front. The insurance company says in return, here's how much I'll give you. All of these examples displayed one-time lump sums. That is the most common approach with annuities. However, some annuity products do exist where you can make ongoing payments. So if you wanted to start with an initial lump sum and then continue to make deposits for a certain number of years, you can do that. And you can also see how will that impact your future income payout. A lot of people will approach it in that way. Okay, so we covered a lot there. Seem like a lot of information? It is a lot of information. Here's a few things that might help. Whenever you're considering an annuity or trying to figure out how to plan for retirement, here's where I like to start. See what your life looks like right now. Before you look at any products, any strategies, just to start at ground zero, what do things look like right now before retirement? And then also during retirement, based on how much I have coming in via work, pension, Social Security, rentals, whatever it might be. And what does my life look like if I just keep doing that? And then ask, do I need to, or do I want to make any changes? And if we do, what we can do is look at products that A, grow your money safely, or B, guarantee income during retirement. And we see the products that we might look at based on what we've covered this evening so far. And then 3, if an annuity makes retirement less stressful, that's when it might make sense, numbers aside. But the most important thing to do here, in my opinion, is review numbers before and after. And what that means, especially after, is not review the numbers after you buy the product, not after you write a check or transfer money, but look at a model that displays what your income looks like in retirement before you make any changes, and then also after you make changes. And this is something that we do model for individuals we work with that are interested in this type of strategy and discussing this. It's a lot of fun too when you put the numbers together. So I'll give you an example. So we've got someone here named Chris. She is 59 years old right now. She is planning to retire in about 3 years when she's 62. Her and her husband want $150,000 per year in income when they retire. What they've got set so far is about $100K per year from Social Security and rentals. That's combined. So both of their Social Security income and the rental properties that they own, and that's the net income total that we're looking at here at the 100K. So they've got assets diversified, they're in a good position, but they've got money in a retirement account of about 700 grand. So the first question that comes up sometimes is, can I live on the interest of that? If I just put it in conservative accounts and earn 4 or 5%, you'd have to talk to a financial planner to get a full analysis on that. But if I just take $700,000, multiply it by 5%, I would get $35,000 per year. Then if I add that to the Social Security and rental income, I'm at $135,000. Here's the thing though. Chris is really nervous about another crash like 2008. Because she's planning on retiring in 3 years, she doesn't want to see that balance go down. So, options, the before and after approach. Before we just show after, let's look at some options. So preparing to retire in 3 years, what we're going to look at here is moving money from the retirement account to an income annuity. You've got $700K to work with. The options we'll look at: A, move $300,000 into an income annuity; B, 500K; C, 700K. Want to see what that looks like? Here's A. So you've got your $300,000 deposit. How much does that give her in income? $2,300 per month, which comes out to almost $28,000 per year. Remember that question we asked toward the beginning? What happens to my money if I die? Does the insurance company just pocket it? No. So this is pulled directly from the illustration. We see the death benefit that is paid to her beneficiary if she dies before depleting the initial deposit. If she outlives it, she keeps getting that $28,000 per year. So this is what she's guaranteed in income if she moves $300,000 into this annuity. What about $500,000? Well, the income now is guaranteed at almost $3,900 per month. Comes out to $46,000 and change. There's the death benefit. Then you can look at the 700K annuity. This is transferring all of it. That gives her $5,400 and change. Income annualized is $65K. You've got that death benefit there too. All right, which one do you pick? Let's recap this in a simple manner. So option one, you've got the 300K annuity. That gave you $28,000 in annuity income. Adding everything else, you get $128,000 per year. Option two, you move $500,000 into an annuity. That gives you $46,000 per year in annuity income, plus everything else. You get a total of $146,000. And then option three, you move the full 700K into an annuity, which gives you $65,000 per year of guaranteed income. Tally them up, we're at $165,000 total. Which one do I pick? It's up to you. I'd probably pick option two. The reason why is because that gets me close to my 150K target, and I've still got some money left over to play with or use for other things. So option two, we moved $500,000 from the retirement account to an income annuity that guaranteed her close to 150K per year. The annuity guarantee was $46,000. Then she had Social Security and rental income. Like, it got her very close to her target, but she still has 200K in the retirement account, and she's got other things going on as well. The main thing here is that it gave her peace of mind. So that's one way we can break it down. If you ever connect with us, we can always break it down in different ways too, if you do decide to talk to our team. Covered a lot there. Let's recap with a few questions. First one, do you understand the three different types of annuities we discussed this evening? Fixed annuities, indexed annuities, and income annuities. I hope it's a yes. If not, we'll keep on going through it. We can always talk to you more about that. Question number two, do you feel like an annuity might make sense for you, or considering one perhaps? And then three, if yes, which one do you like the most? Now, if your answer is a no, no worries. Thank you very much for watching all the way until the end. I do appreciate it, and I sincerely do hope that this information was helpful. If it's a yes, however, and you are interested in looking at annuities or working with us and discussing other products, feel free to book a call with us and we can walk through different options. How you can book a call with us: one, you'll see a link in the description. You can certainly schedule a call that way. You can check out our website, ibcglobalinc.com. You'll see a way that you can reach out and contact us directly. You can email us. We've got our email address up there. You can call us, or if you're at a point where you just want more information, you can check out our YouTube channel, as we've got a lot of case studies that go through individuals with different dollar amounts and such. We really try to provide step-by-step details on what to do and what not to do, both with annuities, and a lot of information is heavily focused on cash value life insurance as well. So with that said, I want to say thank you again so much for taking time during a Monday. I do appreciate it sincerely. We are going to wrap up the webinar for everyone on the live stream right now. And for all of you who are on Zoom, we are going to have our Q&A session. But for everyone that is not on Zoom, again, thank you so much for taking time to view this evening. I do sincerely appreciate it. If you'd like to connect with us, please feel free to reach out, as I would love